Well, church family, it's great to be with you this morning. My name is Michael Loudermuck. I serve as the lead pastor here. And every once in a while, we have a special time in the service where we have what we call a story of transformation. And we do this for a couple of reasons. One, because our vision for the church, our vision statement involves being transformed by grace. And then the other reason is because our heart is that we would be a family. When we use that language, it matters to us, is that we want to be a family. We are Christ's community. And part of being a family involves knowing one another's stories. And we can't have everybody share every Sunday. We understand that. But hopefully you have relationships within this community, whether it's your community group or what have you, and they know you and they know your story. And so every once in a while, we like to highlight someone's story to share in front of the church family so we can know one another better and also be encouraged by that. And so we call this a story of transformation. So I want to invite up my friends Jenny and Kyle Blush up to the stage. And if you know this family, this is a special, special family in our church right here. And one of the things I learned when I came to Little Rock is that a lot of people who grow up here, they go to Northwest Arkansas. And that's kind of the trajectory. And the Blushes did the reverse. So they are Northwest Arkansas folks who made their way to Little Rock back in 2018. You're one of 9 believing families, both grew up in Northwest Arkansas, but y'all moved here in a pretty intense time. Y'all had been married for 6 months. You were 3 months pregnant. You were starting a new job. And you didn't really know anybody in Little Rock. You had one kind of mutual friend or friend here, and you were looking for a church, and they invited you to Christ Community, and you came, and you loved the preaching. And it wasn't me. I wasn't here yet. It's gone downhill since. But y'all just connected in community and made relationships right away. I see the Connells over there, David and Mallory, and the Corbins, and the Rosenbaum's friends who are part of your, community to this day. And so you come to Little Rock, and you have your first daughter, Sarah. And it was in the spring, I believe, or early 2019, when something happened out in our foyer right out there that really changed y'all's life. And so I want to give you a chance to share a bit about that journey.
Yeah, so like Michael said, our journey started before we were here at Christ Community, but out there in the lobby, things changed for us, something we didn't expect. That morning, Sarah, she was how old? Month and a half at the time. She had developed a blister on the back of her leg. Nothing too crazy, just out of the ordinary. And during service, it had popped, and so we got a Band-Aid, threw that on there. And it wasn't until we went to take that Band-Aid off later that evening, it took the skin underneath it with it completely off, which is greatly concerning. We didn't know what to do. So we talked to a doctor, and that started kind of a journey for us over the next 5 months of trying to figure out what was going on. Her skin was getting worse, and there were other complications. We were in the hospital for her growth and development and all sorts of uncertainty. And we had testing, and we had biopsies, and nothing was conclusive until about 6 months later. We finally got a conclusive diagnosis through genetic blood testing that she had a rare genetic condition called ILNEB. It was very rare. There were at the time only 9 kids in the world who had ever been diagnosed with it, and the prospects were very poor. Life expectancy was about 18 months, and we were 10 months into it at the time, and so things were very grim and very dark and very scary at that time. But Sarah's 5 now, so not to skip to the end.
That's right.
Things got a little better.
That's right.
Yeah, so part of the diagnosis of ILNEB is that there is a 1 in 4 chance with each of our pregnancies that the child will be a carrier and have that genetic mutation. So even after having Sarah and finding a diagnosis, we still believed really strongly that we were continuing to have kids. And so we had Olivia about 2 years later, and she was healthy and normal and no genetic condition. And then about 2 years after that, we had Walker. And when Walker was about a month and a half old, we found a blister on his leg, the same as Sarah. And we knew, of course, right away what it was. And as we continued to watch him and get the diagnosis confirmed and everything, about 2 weeks after we found that blister, we got results back from a high-res CT scan from Sarah that showed she had early stages interstitial lung disease, which is part of ILNEB. And so those are kind of the things that we watch now. So what that looks like for us on like a daily basis is about an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening of skincare routines for Sarah and Walker. It's bandaging any open wounds or blisters that they have, and continuing to monitor both their lungs and their lung function and also their kidney function, which is another part of their diagnosis. We're really blessed that so far their kidneys show completely normal function. And even though Sarah has interstitial lung disease, she doesn't have any symptoms. It's not something we're having to worry about at the moment. We just continue to monitor.
And I think we all in here can that's incredibly heavy. And I think something that no parent, when they're playing out the future of their family or parenting, you don't expect to have 2 of the 10 cases, 11 cases in the world of a particular disease, and that you don't know how to treat, or you don't know what the long-term prospects are, and that can take people to a pretty hard place and a pretty dark place. And I feel like one of the things that I've seen in your story and your journey is not ignoring the hard stuff, but the hope of the Lord in the midst of that. And I know when you come up here this morning, you wouldn't want to just share the hard stuff, and it is hard. There's a lot of hard things involved with this, but also just kind of what the Lord has done in the midst of that in you and in your family.
Yeah, so one of the hardest parts for me was right after we got the diagnosis. This was something I never thought I would share with anyone, and now there's hundreds of people here. I didn't think I'd share it because I felt a lot of guilt surrounding it, which was I believe that God could heal our kids. And after getting the diagnosis and learning it's genetic and it's built into their DNA, I didn't think that he would, and I was at peace with that. But I felt like the only way that God's goodness could come through this would be total healing, make things as if nothing had ever happened. I didn't believe he would, and so I felt. I'm looking at the statistics, and it looks very grim. And my only hope was in a quick, painless, and easy end to everything. And I felt so guilty. I didn't want anyone to know I was feeling that way. And through the whole thing, God, I was right. God didn't take it away. But I was so wrong that God's goodness couldn't be shown through it. And I came to a point where I've learned that it's better to experience God's goodness in so many ways through the hard thing, through the trial, than if things had just been as normal as we could have ever hoped.
Yeah, and for me, I really have gotten to experience what it looks like to rely on the Lord. I would say up until the point of having Sarah in my life, I very much prayed in a way that was, the Lord helps those who help themselves. And so how can I be praying for patience and empathy with my kids if I'm not working my hardest to pull that out of myself? And through this hard stuff, I've really been brought to a place where I have nothing left to give. And I'm praying and I'm saying, God, you've got to provide patience because I have got nothing. There's nothing left in me. I'm exhausted in every way. And to get to experience hard moments, frustration, anger, and out of me comes peace and empathy and calm. And I know that that's not me at all. I'm surprised, like, where are these words coming from? It's not me at all. And just getting to experience God providing what we need when we need it to raise these kids in the way that he's called us to. And then another way that he's really provided hugely for us has just been peace and continuing to have a family. So I'm pregnant with baby number 4. We're due in May. And with my pregnancies with Olivia and with Walker, experienced a lot of anxiety, a lot of overwhelm, just feeling like I can't do this again. I can't, I don't know what we will even do if we have another child that has this genetic condition. And with this pregnancy specifically, have just felt so much peace and so much calm, and knowing that God's goodness is going to shine through. If this baby has Island EB, if any future children that we have has Island EB, that God is still good, that he has still blessed us with an amazing life, amazing friends, wonderful kids who we love that bring so much joy to our lives. And so just getting to see his goodness shine through hard stuff, even when that's not what we would have thought. We would have thought goodness is only going to come from total and complete healing and no other children with this genetic condition. But getting to see God shine through the hard stuff has been really special.
And maybe one last question that I'll throw on you. I think one of the things we've talked about as we've met is just how you've been blessed by the community here, and just how important that is and how that's been on the journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we moved here knowing nobody, and we're pregnant, which comes with its own, anxiety and stuff. And then things turned out to be a lot more difficult than we expected. And so we came here with nobody, and now we've been so blessed through our church and through the community here in Little Rock. We've got so many good friends of such high quality. We left that when we left our hometown, and we came to a new place, and God's just provided overwhelmingly through the church, through the local community, support, childcare for doctor's appointments, and in so many ways.
Yeah, I think our small group, we're with the same small group today that we were with when we first came here, and we were 6 months pregnant, and no one else in the group was pregnant, and now we're currently 5 of us are pregnant, and we're going on 22 children in our group.
Let's keep them coming. Let's go. Let's go.
And so we've just gotten to walk through a lot of life with all of these couples, and this picture is actually from a retreat where all of us together get a big cabin, and we go and we just hang out with our kids and enjoy doing life together for a weekend, and that's been really special. They've supported us through the hard stuff and been there in really big ways, but they also are just like, when life is good, we get to have great fun with them, and they bring a lot of joy to our lives.
Amen. Well, church, can we give the Blushes thanks for